This is the chapel of San Zeno, located in the church of Santa Prassede. The chapel of San Zeno was constructed during a period of early Christian revival, known as Renovatio. This was expressed under Popes Leo III, Pope from 795 to 816, and Pascal I, Pope from 817 to 824. Pope Pascal commissioned the San Zeno chapel during his papacy in order to commemorate the memory of his mother Theodora, as well as Saint Zeno, Saint Praxedes, and Saint Pudenziana, the three main saints relevant to the church of Santa Prassede. Renovatio is seen in the embellishment of both the chapel and the church, as well as displaying a clear Byzantine influence. An example of this influence is seen in the style of mosaic decoration and overall ornamentation. The San Zeno chapel is located in the church of Santa Prassede in Rome, Italy, near the papal basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore. Saint Praxedes, or Santa Prassede, was the daughter of a Roman senator, Pudens, and sister to Saint Pudenziana. Praxedes and her sister sought out persecuted Christians and provided aid to them in any way that they could, which included housing them and hiding them in a basilica their father had built. After her father and sister died, Praxedes continued to bury the martyrs in the cemetery of the Priscilla on the Via Salaria. In 165 AD, Saint Praxedes died, and the remains of both her and her sister were transferred to the titulus Praxedes, the basilica that their father had built, by Pope Pascal I. In the church of Santa Prassede, built by Pope Pascal in 817 to 824, the Zeno chapel is located on the right side of the basilica when facing the altar and apse. This chapel was commissioned by Pope Pascal to be a funerary chapel to house the relics of his mother, Theodora, as well as two other martyrs and Saint Zeno, for whom the chapel is named. This was especially significant because at that point in time, people believed that the spirits of saints returned to their earthly bodies, so being buried near the remains of a saint, or ad sanctum, was very important in the Christian religion. The San Zeno chapel was completed in 822 and is a rare example of an oratory annexed to a basilica. The entrance to the San Zeno chapel has an inscription right over the door stating Hortus Paradisi, Sancta Maria libera nos a poenis inferni, which translates to Garden of Paradise, and Saint Mary frees us from the pains of Inferno. This inscription refers to a privilege given by Pope Pascal I that stated that for every 5 masses celebrated at its altar, a soul would be freed from purgatory. Above the doorway inscription is a portal composed of a reshaped lintel held up on both sides by 2 columns. The mosaic above the lintel is in a square space with 2 semicircles, each containing figures. In the outer semicircle, Christ is seen blessing the 12 apostles. In the inner semicircle, Mary Theotokos is seen with the Christ child, a deacon, a presbyter, and 8 crowned women in gold. Mary has the name Theotokos because it is used in Eastern Christianity to describe her. Under the 2 semicircles, we see a large urn in front of a grated window that gives us a bit of a view into the chapel. When entering the chapel, we are directly in front of an altar with a mosaic of Mary holding the Christ child, with sisters Saint Praxedes and Saint Pudenziana on the left and right, respectively. The mosaic has 2 small spiraled columns on either side of it, supporting a portal with another mosaic of Christ and saints above. Turning clockwise to the right, we see a side nave containing the sacred column, which supposedly was the column that Christ was tied to during the flagellation before his crucifixion. Consequently, the chapel of San Zeno is a place of significance for Christian pilgrims. In a lunette above the doorway to this reliquary, we see another mosaic that shows Christ giving blessings to 2 saints, possibly Saint Zeno and Saint Valentine. Above the lunette, we see St. John on the left, separated from St. Andrew and St. James, who are on the right, by a small rectangular window. St. James and St. Andrew face St. John with their hands covered as a sign of reverence and present him with scrolls. Facing the exit, we see a mosaic of St. Peter and St. Paul, Peter holding the keys to heaven and Paul holding a scroll. They both have their arms stretched out to an empty throne, which signals them awaiting Christ in the second coming. This is just one example of how the theme of promised resurrection is shown in this chapel. To the left of the altar, we see an intricate mosaic within a lunette above a doorway. In this mosaic, we see 4 women, all with halos. On the left, Theodora is shown with a square halo, signifying that she was alive at the time that this mosaic was made. Left of Theodora we see Saints Praxedes and Pudenziana, with Mary, Mother of God, in the middle of the two. Above the women's heads there is a lamb with 2 deer on each side. This is a popular Christian symbol in the Middle Ages, as the lamb refers to Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God. Above this lunette there is another mosaic portraying 3 females, one separated on the right by a blind window. The 2 women on the left are Saints Agnes and Pudenziana, and on the right of the window is Saint Praxedes. The 3 women all have their hands covered, which mirrors the mosaic of St. James, Andrew, and John across from them. St. Agnes, St. Pudenziana, and St. Praxedes all form a procession towards the altar, where they offer their crowns to Christ. The ceiling is perhaps one of the most eye-catching parts of the chapel, with 4 angels in each corner lifting their arms up to hold a circle in which Christ is in the center. The entire ceiling is decorated in gold, which reflects the idea that only brilliant and glorious things await us in heaven.